Hi, I'm Oscar. I'm the owner of Flare Interactive, an advertising firm which deals with a portfolio of gyms in both the UK and US markets. And this is a very quick video, one of, I would say, the first of quite a large course on our process. And so this video is all about the advert. Nothing else, none of the back end, scripts and organic content or anything like that, or even meta setup, right? This is about the kind of the behavioral economics, the principles, and what makes a good advert succeed. Why can I set up an advert for your gym and it performs twice as well, or 5 times as well, or 10 times as well as we've had, or more than you when we're advertising and we have the exact same product to try and create awareness for? Why is that? Well, you know, there's quite a lot of factors at play there. I'm actually going to jump into my computer right now and go through the exact process and kind of every minutiae detail that's really needed for you to go from maybe $50 leads to 3 or 4 at a maximum. This is a very transformational strategy. The agency has benefited incredibly and our clients have benefited even more. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'll see you in there. This is a very quick note just before I get into the video, just a PS, but right at the start. This video might end up being 10-20 minutes long, and if you, as a gym owner, are struggling to acquire members and you can't sit through a 20-minute video, then there's really, you may as well close down, is what I'm saying. If your focus is so diminished you can't sit through 20 minutes and learn exactly how a creative is able to perform at 10x the rate of what I would assume your creatives are currently performing at, the industry average, then there is no way you can succeed in today's market because it's far too competitive, it's far too saturated, and you really cannot afford in 2025 to be competing against people who are willing to work 18 hours a day, right? And so I really recommend you pay attention, get a notepad out, you make notes, because there's quite a few principles in here that you don't want to miss. Hello and welcome to the laptop. This is the entire process from a lead opting in, registering interest, to becoming a new member, to having the sale go through and you have a new member on your books, on your system. This video is only about getting the advert right. Not even meta setup, nothing like that, just the advert. But very quickly, I'm going to go over kind of the steps that are going to be in this course. Just so you have a frame of reference and so you know where we are. Obviously, we're right at the beginning, okay? So, of course, you have the advert, number one. There's really 6 steps, okay? Then you have the opting into the form, which is attached to the advert, which is registering interest, okay? Lead nurture. When a lead comes in, what are you going to do with them, okay? Booking. Do they show up to that booking? And then do you sell them once they do show up to the booking? If you can get a tick on each of these sections, you win. And if you can establish, as we can, a system where you can put £1, $1 in and get $3 out, you will shove, and we do, all of your dollars into that system. Every single dollar you can get, you'll shove into it because you know you can make a return. And that is what ads can be for you. It is not it shouldn't be a liability. Advertising should be the marketing side. It should be revenue generating. It should not just be, okay, well, I don't really understand Facebook ads, so I'm not going to try. This is how it is done, okay? Very quickly, I'm going to go over this SOP, standard operating procedure. This is the complete thing. So a lead opts into an advert, right? We have a speed to lead call that's done by either an employee of yours, or if you, let's say, a partner with Flare Interactive, a pipeline manager from Flare. Speed to lead basically means calling that lead within 5 minutes of them opting in. This increases their basically chances of buying your product by up to 400, 500%, by quite a lot. Do they answer? If no, we don't just bin them and say they're unqualified because they didn't answer. That's a ridiculous thing to say. We go into a dialing sequence. What is this dialing sequence? We call them 3 times a day for 5 days. That's our usual dialing sequence. It sounds like quite a lot, but that's really what's necessary. Life comes up. Obviously, we're not going to keep dialing them if they, hang up and tell us to go away, or use stronger language. But, we have to be quite brisk with this. Now, no answer equals long-term nurture, basically. If after our entire dialing sequence they haven't picked up, we will just dial them maybe once a month. After that point, we'll go to a newsletter of some kind. Then Discovery call. If they answer, we ask a few questions, make sure they're qualified. If they're non-qualified, they're disqualified, and that's kind of it. If they are, we make an appointment with them, and then they go into the show up or reminder sequence. Then, if they do show up, we take the appointment and we try and sell them. If they don't show up, there's a rebooking sequence, and we try and get that appointment rebooked. If they're not sold, no sale, long-term nurture if applicable. So let's say, okay, well, it's not great for me at the moment, or I'm not yet actually, I haven't actually yet moved into that area, or it's, any type of objection, an authority objection, a price objection, an urgency objection, whatever it might be. But this is in high level, in overview, the entire process of getting interest and converting that interest into money, right? This is the funnel, if you will. We go from awareness to the consideration from the prospect and then conversion of the prospect into a member. Let's get into it. So the advert, right? An advert consists of three things. It consists of the creative, the image, right here. This does 99% of the heavy lifting. It jumps out of the page. It's what's going to capture people's attention. Nobody stops to read, really. It's going to catch far more attention than a piece of text. And it's actually what Meta uses nowadays to do most of their targeting. When you go through the ad set level on Meta, for example, and you go through maybe ticking, oh, I want people interested in fitness, etc. We don't actually do that. We let the advert do the heavy lifting because Meta is using incredibly advanced algorithms and it knows it has quite a lot of data. It knows what it's doing. And so we have the creative, we have the copy, and this is the body copy over here, and the headline down here. And then we have the call to action, which is the learn more button, and that's going to take someone either to a landing page or an instant form. Okay. A place, in short, where they can get a bit more information, register their details, and so we have their details and we can get in contact and try and sell them something. Now, very quickly, before I get into this, this is a creative. And before you say, well, uh, it's not revolutionary, this creative is a creative we used just last month for this client, Ben Andrews. And this is not me trying to sell you something. I'm not going to go into some sales pitch. I just want to show you this. So if I go to his ads manager, that creative, which is still free, I don't know why it's not there, but generated 313 leads within a month from the 22nd to the 22nd, which is £3 each or $4 each, right? And from those leads, Ben was able to, or us partnering with Ben, were able to generate 10 to 12 leads a day, right? Appointments, we were able to book 1 to 3 bookings a day. We booked 51 in total. His cost per appointment was £21. His cost to acquire a customer, a £220 a month customer, was £42. And so 23 memberships in the first month. His retention is 18 months. Cash collected, 5 grand. That's pounds, so maybe $6,500. And then added lifetime revenue, £90,000 or 110, $115,000. Okay, so short term he turned £1 into £3.20. Long term he turned £1 into £74. These ads work, and I don't know how else to drum this home for you, but I'm not gonna keep selling and shoving the service down your throat. Right. This is the average creative you would have seen. This is the classic, I own a gym and we've just opened type format that most people will use, and it looks exactly like a creative. It looks like an ad, right? It's very vague. There's no, I said non-format here because there is really no format they're following. It's just, well, I suppose this looks cool. It looks like an advert. That's what they're supposed to look like. Wrong. This is our winning creative format. This is what works. So there's really three things you need in an advert. You need the call out, and make these as big as possible, right? Get people's attention. It's an attention economy, okay? Call out, Bristol area runners wanted. Offer, and this, you should have some implicit curiosity. Don't just explain it in full, but 75-minute session, and then risk reversal completely free. Notice we don't say click learn more or use any form of call to action here, because as we saw, there it is. It's implicit, right? It's in the feed. Now, here's a few little pieces of advice that I've found very, very applicable for this. Do you want a piece of advertising that sells, or do you want a piece of fine art? Do you want a piece of advertising which looks fantastic but really doesn't create any conversions? Or do you want something that's like, well, I guess it looks fine, but I'm not too chuffed about how it looks, but it creates conversions and it makes you a lot of money? You can't really strike a balance. Choose. I would choose the one that makes you money. Great ads usually don't look great, yes, and then have the mentality of an editor, not an advertiser. So your ad shouldn't look like an ad. It should look like you're a writer, a columnist for a magazine, or whatever that might look like. And now, local advertising does not require genius, but awareness. It requires logic, testing, and a good funnel. And that's what I'm walking you through here. You don't need some insane insight. You just need logic and to test and to establish that machine in your local market, which turns £1 into £3. And then simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. I think that's pretty simple. This is as simple as an advert can get, really. It's far simpler, for example, than this standard advert, okay? And so very quickly, steal these. Please go ahead and steal our winners, because the more proof of concept we get as an agency, the better, quite frankly. And so feel free to go ahead, zoom in, pause, screenshot, do whatever you like, and copy these exact adverts which are performing right now, okay, in 2025. And bear in mind, variation between placements. You might think, well, why are they all square? Why are they all 1-to-1 ratio? That's because it's the most transferable between placements. You can have search results, you can have Instagram stories, Instagram reels, which are, portrait, or search results that are landscape. This can go into anything, and if you frame it right, it can be cropped. So the text is visible no matter what, right? Okay, next. This is a big thing. So this is the advert in the feed, right? In feed components. Most people try and put their logo, their brand colors into the advert. What we've actually found is that it doesn't really make a difference. Your logo and brand are in bold right above the advert. So why bother putting it in here? Okay. This is a big thing. There's only 3 lines of copy visible when you're running an advert. Unless somebody clicks see more, which 78% of people don't, then most people aren't going to read the bulk of your copy, your primary copy, your body text. And so you have to make this count. And so what we do is we use a call out, Gateshead and Newcastle Women, for example. Do you need to shape up for summer 2025? This is an implied yes. So do you need to insert problem, which you're pretty certain they have? Okay, brilliant. Only in July, and then we go straight into our offer, grab our premium, and it doesn't hurt to add a bit of curiosity in here. Oh, grab our premium, and then they might press see more, or they're probably, what's most likely going to happen the majority of the time is they'll see Newcastle area women, £12 a week in July, down from, okay, fair enough, and then they'll just go straight through to the instant form. Now, this creative has 3 subcomponents, as you would have seen. It has the call out, it has the offer, and it has the risk reversal. Um, Big discount and Newcastle area women. It's pretty obvious who this is for. It's pretty obvious what we're advertising, and it's incredibly simplistic because a confused mind never buys, right? You can get information paralysis, for example, or choice paralysis, which is there's far too much going on. It's actually more safe for me to not make any decision and just ignore this and go on my merry way and keep scrolling. Then headline and offer, headline, which is the offer. We never play around with, what's an insanely creative way of portraying this. It's literally just what's the offer. And then, so only in July, join Dauntless for £12 a week. And then the CTA. So learn more, right? When someone's clicked through that CTA, here's where they come to. They come to the instant form, right? This is the form. This is the form that's native to Facebook and native to Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. And what they'll see is a place to enter their contact information. We say, where should we send your 75-minute free session voucher? They can enter their contact information. This is called a justifying statement, by the way. And so, well, why do I have to enter my contacts? Well, where would you like your voucher sent? It's justifier, right? Privacy policy, but a legal jargon. And then, thanks, you're almost ready. You'll be view our schedule below to book, and we'll be in touch with you shortly. And they can book now for free. right? Free is the most powerful word in a copyrighted language. That's why it's dotted around so much. And then someone can come to the calendar, which we usually host, which makes it incredibly easy for them to book a session in. This is, as I said, a very, very, very small portion of the process, but an incredibly potent part. Um, this is, yeah, it's the front end, right? It's the top of the funnel. By the end of the funnel, hopefully we've got some qualified people and hopefully we've got some members through. But this is kind of a breakdown of exactly how we at Flair would put a gym's adverts together to ensure that it does the correct selling. Now, hopefully I've been able to, gain a bit of your trust. I hope you've liked this video. One quick thing is that I know you've given me your attention, and I will do my very best to keep it. This is going to be, as I've said, one of quite a long series of videos going through exactly how we have in effect created a really, really efficient system to get people the results they desire, to get from maybe 30 members to 103 months, or some crazy results that you actually wouldn't think were possible. Now, on a completely other note, if you want a bit of help setting something like this up for yourself, and this is the entire process that will be done completely for you, literally A to Z. You just have to be at the door to sell people. Then you can get in contact. You can actually book below this video. If not, I really don't mind. I hope you just put what I've taught today into place and you make money regardless. But yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.